When you look at a building, you see the bricks, the windows, the big stuff. But today, we're going to talk about the real MVP, mortar. It might not be glamorous, but it's the super glue that holds our entire world together, one brick at a time.
I mean, really think about that for a second. You see these massive brick buildings, right? And you just know they're solid. But what's the secret? What's stopping the whole thing from just becoming a giant, messy pile of blocks on the ground? Well, you probably guessed it. The bricks give a wall its shape, sure, but the real magic, that invisible force that turns a stack of bricks into a solid structure, is the mortar. And what's so cool about this is that all of that incredible strength comes from a surprisingly simple recipe. So let's dive into our source material and see exactly how it's done. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll cover what mortar actually is. Then we'll break it down into its 3 key ingredients. After that, we'll get into why quality is so important, and we'll finish up with the tools you need to get the job done. Sound good? Let's get into it. So first things first, let's give this unsung hero its moment in the spotlight. What exactly is mortar, and why does it matter so much? At its heart, the definition is about as simple as it gets. Mortar is that sticky paste you see in between bricks or stone blocks. Its one job, its whole purpose in life, is to hold them together and turn a bunch of individual pieces into one solid wall. So why do we call it the hero? Well, because without it, buildings just wouldn't work, period. It gives them strength, it makes them stable, and it literally holds everything together. The big takeaway here is that without mortar, a wall is just a neat pile of bricks waiting for the first gust of wind to knock it over. Okay, so what is this miracle mix actually made of? Let's move on and look at the building blocks of mortar. It turns out it all comes down to 3 basic ingredients. First up, we've got sand. These tiny little grains of rock are what give the mortar its body, its thickness. They make it stronger, and, this part is super important, they keep the mortar from shrinking and cracking while it dries. That ensures you get a nice, tight fill between every single brick. Next, of course, is water, and it does way more than just make everything wet. Water is the catalyst here. It's what activates the cement and makes the whole mix workable, so you can actually spread it evenly and smoothly. And finally, we have the real powerhouse of the group, cement. This fine powder is the actual glue. When you add water, it kicks off a chemical reaction that makes it harden, and it's what binds the sand and the bricks into one incredibly strong structure. Now, you might be thinking, okay, sand, water, cement, any old kind will do, right? Well, not so fast. This is where things get really crucial. The quality of your ingredients makes all the difference. And to understand why, we need to talk about something called properties. It's just a way of talking about the special qualities of each material. Are they clean? Are they fresh? These properties are what decide if you're making super strong mortar or a really weak link in your wall. Let's start with sand. If your sand is clean, the cement can grab right onto every grain, making a really strong bond. But if the sand is dirty or has clay mixed in, the cement ends up sticking to that junk instead of the sand itself. And right there, you just built a major weakness into your mixture. It's pretty much the same deal with cement. Fresh, dry cement is like pure potential energy, ready to go. But old cement that's been sitting around and absorbed moisture from the air, it's already started to react inside the back. Those lumps you see are basically little bits of used-up cement that have lost their sticking power. They're not going to help you. And you guessed it, even the water matters. Clean water lets the cement do its job perfectly. But dirty water, if it's got soil or other stuff floating in it, you're just adding more impurities that will absolutely weaken the final product. And this really just brings it all home. It's a simple, undeniable truth. Good materials make strong mortar. And strong mortar makes strong buildings. Bad materials? Well, they make weak buildings. When it comes to something this important, there are just no shortcuts. Okay, so we know what mortar is, we know why quality matters, but how do you actually work with the stuff? For our last section, let's take a quick look at the essential tools of the trade. Having the right gear just makes everything go smoother. You're going to need a shovel to mix the sand and cement together properly. You'll want a bucket to carry and measure your water. A wheelbarrow is a must for moving that heavy mix around. And of course, the classic trowel is what you'll use to apply that perfect layer of mortar to each brick. So why bother with all the specific tools? Well, it really just comes down to being smart about the work. The right tools make the job go faster, they keep things a whole lot neater, and, most importantly, they help keep everyone on the job site safe. So there you have it, the simple but incredibly powerful recipe that holds our buildings and really our world together. The big takeaway is that real, lasting strength always starts from the ground up, with good ingredients and the right tools. It kind of makes you think, doesn't it? Now that you know the recipe for strength, what will you build?